The little fish and her new friend. The little fish was lonely and sad all day. None of his friends were with him anymore. They had all gone to the big, blue ocean. Mr. Mustache had told him that they were just on a swimming vacation, but the little fish knew better. He missed the playful bubbles and the way they would chase each other through the seaweed forest in the tank. When Mr. Mustache left the house, the little fish looked at the terrace, his tiny heart filled with longing. He put his small fins under his chin and said with a loud sigh, "I wish a little friend like myself would fall from the sky into my heart so I would not be alone anymore." At that moment, from the corner of the terrace, a fat lizard entered the room. He was chasing after a plump, juicy grasshopper, his tongue flicking in and out. He hadn't noticed the fishbowl until he tripped on a stray pebble, tumbling right over the edge and into the water. Splash! The fish was terrified and darted to the side of the tank, pressing his body against the cool glass. The lizard, even fatter now with all the water clinging to him, thrashed about in the bowl. The fish's heart was beating so fast he felt like he might jump out of his skin. The lizard, meanwhile, struggled desperately, his small eyes wide with fear. The fish, despite his own fear, felt a pang of sympathy for the poor creature. "Poor lizard," he said, "he doesn't even know how to swim." The lizard shook his tail frantically, splashing water everywhere. Some of it even splashed onto the little fish, making him flinch. The lizard tried to climb up the side of the fishbowl, but his slippery scales made it impossible. He kept slipping and falling back into the water, his frantic movements further disturbing the little fish. The little fish looked up. The room was dark and gloomy. He felt a wave of disappointment. "I wanted a small fish like me to fall into the tank," he thought, "not a lizard that hates water and is causing me to die too." His little back ached from the constant splashing, and he began to feel lightheaded. "Relax," he called out to the lizard, "don't do this. The water is running out. I will suffocate like this." But it was as if the lizard didn't even hear the sound of the little fish's voice, he just kept flailing around. The little fish began to panic. Just then, there was a sound at the door, and Mr. Mustache came back home. The lizard, hearing the sound, panicked even more and thrashed about with renewed vigor. The sound of the lizard moving in the water reached Mr. Mustache's ears, and he noticed the strange figure in the bowl. Mr. Mustache was surprised and looked at the fishbowl. The lizard, now exhausted from his struggle, lay still, staring angrily at the little fish. The little fish wanted to say, "How is this my fault?" but he was too scared to speak. Mr. Mustache returned with a glove, gently lifted the lizard out of the bowl, and returned him to the terrace. The lizard was very happy to be saved and quickly hid behind the potted plant on the balcony. The little fish, relieved and exhausted, started swimming and dancing in the cool water again. He was so happy to be alive. Mr. Mustache took the fishbowl and poured fresh water into it. The little fish was overjoyed. He swam around and around, his tail flicking happily. Like and subscribe Children's Farm for more.